But now, what were you about to say about this last fight?
About Jourdain. Yeah, like usually I'm pretty sweet with all the people that I fight. I know that, I've always got a mutual respect for somebody that I share the cage with. But this time around, we had some. There was definitely still some tension after the fight. I believe he's sort of putting on a front with him thinking that he won that fight. I think he knows deep down, and his coaches know deep down that he lost that fight. So he can take it however he wants to take it. But I know, and his coaches know that he lost that fight.
Yeah, I mean, for me, the weird thing is, right, like this, the way I judged it was you clearly took round one. That's the way I saw it. Round two, that one was probably the closest one, right?
Yeah.
It could have gone either way. I edged it towards you.
Yep.
That was me personally. Round three, I'll say he won that.
100%.
That's just the way I had it.
Yep.
But the funny thing is, you look at the scorecards, 2 out of the 3 judges had it the same way.
Yep.
Right? Obviously, the blue corner, right?
Yeah.
Took it 2-1.
Yep.
I think it was the white had it 2-1 as well, but they gave it 10-8 on the last round.
Yep.
And then the yellow, that's the one that boggles me. Like, as I said, like I'm not actually too offended by the draw.
Yep.
Because as I say, it could have been you 1, him 3,
Yep.
and the 2 was that close that you
Yep.
could potentially say draw. So,
Yep.
I mean, the result itself, I kind of feel like I'm not too offended by that,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
As I said, I personally had you winning, but I'm okay with the draw. But when that other judge gave it 3 to him, I was like I clearly from that knockdown in that first when he went from that spinning back fist, and you just like boom, you clocked him on and put him literally put him on his butt. Like I was like, after that there was no discussion on who won that round, right? Like, but I mean, how did you see that fight?
In total, I think like exactly the way you thought. I thought I obviously took round 1. Even if it wasn't a 10-8 round, I knew I still took that round. In round 2, I was leading the strikes in the stand up throughout the whole round until he like sort of kicked and kicked my base out, and I ended up having to shoot, and he ended up in the turtle position. But in that turtle position, he really didn't do much. So majority of the round, like 4 minutes and 10 seconds or 4 minutes and 20 seconds of that 5-minute round, I was leading the dance. And then that last 40 seconds, the judge is going to obviously see the last 40 seconds of him just being on top of me, not doing much with it, but the last thing they see of that round is him on top of me. So they probably could have seen that and been like, oh, yep, that's why they probably might have gave him the round. But obviously round 3, he had a good few submission attempts, one pretty tight triangle attempt. And so it obviously was like lent towards him in that 3rd round for sure.
Now, listen, with the 3rd round, was it a case of that, like, why do you think he came so strong? Was it something that he did? Was it something, like, were you tiring in that 3rd round? Or was it a fact that you thought you had the first 2 and you were trying to just stay safe, not try anything too crazy and kind of, like, ride out the win? Like, why was it? Because as I said, I kind of feel like it went clearly from in your favour to obviously the 3rd one. As I say, I'll be honest with that. I gave it to him.
Yeah,
you know?
for sure. I think it was a mixture of all 3, a mixture of a lot of that stuff. I believe I took rounds 1 and 2, so I just needed to survive that 3rd round. I was tiring in that 3rd round. I think I sort of blew my wad with the whole adrenaline. I was sort of like really nervous for this fight. I felt like this fight was my UFC debut, and so I wanted to put on a good performance, and I knew how big of a name Jourdain is. You know, he's fought good guys, only good guys in the UFC, and he knocked out Du Hoi Choi, and then he took Andre Feely, who fought on the weekend, to a split decision. So I knew how dangerous he was. He was also a 2-time 2-division champ in Canada in one of their biggest promotions. So I knew he was a guy that was very dangerous. So I was nervous, and I think the adrenaline dump sort of got to me. The nerves got to me, and by the time the 2nd round came, I was sort of spent. So I think it was a mixture of all of those.